Let's first acknowledge the High Commissioners and Ambassadors we have here. Thanks for honoring us by using this facility. This is the Gauteng Investment Center, which we use to try and facilitate trade and investment with South Africa and countries in the continent and the rest of the world. So we're really honored that the ambassadors came with us here. We don't charge for the venue. The only payment is that we make you listen to our video which talks about Gauteng. That is the price you pay for being here. But we welcome, as I said, the ambassadors who are here, especially Ambassador Okeke and the High Commissioner of South Africa that's joined us here with honor. Mawere organized this. This has now become his second home. We've noted that there are very important business people in the room, both South African and from Nigeria in the diaspora. But the program really is not for the GGDA, Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. It's a briefing on the World Mayors Africa Regional and Investment Conference. So from this would be the end of me. But as I say, you have a small price to pay, which is to be subjected to our video. And after that, over to you. Thanks, ambassadors.
South Africa's economic powerhouse, leading the way in investment, manufacturing, technology, research, and innovation. The 5 regions interspersed in and around Gauteng seamlessly collaborate to form a harmonious economic relationship, making Gauteng an integrated city region. Gauteng contributes significantly to South Africa and Africa's GDP. It is the 4th biggest economy on the continent. Over 70 financial institutions and all South Africa's telecommunications companies are based in Gauteng. The JSE's location in Gauteng cements its position as the powerhouse of trade. Gauteng boasts a modern transport infrastructure in which air, rail and road effortlessly connect, making it the gateway to Africa. It is home to Africa's largest and busiest airport, OR Tambo International Airport, and Africa's first high-speed train, the Gautrain. Despite being landlocked, Gauteng prides itself in having the largest inland port in Africa, making it the continent's pulse of connectivity. Pursuant to its commitment towards a radical transformation, modernization and re-industrialization, Gauteng is experiencing major spatial and economic transformation in its 5 development corridors, each of which has distinct industries and comparative advantages. Bold new developments are radically transforming Gauteng's spatial landscape, and in its central corridor, the hub for Gauteng's finance, ICT and pharmaceutical industries, the nucleus of development will be anchored around 5 new city nodes. These mega developments, including the inner city regeneration, will positively impact on Gauteng's growth. The Northern Corridor is set to emerge as a modern and vibrant capital city. To strengthen its position as the center for the automotive sector, research, innovation, and the knowledge-based economy, the Northern Corridor will develop an incubation center for small, micro, and medium enterprises within the automotive industry, a business process outsourcing park, and the Centurion African Gateway project. The economy of the Western Corridor traditionally depended on mining. This region is, however, set to expand its agricultural and renewable energy industries. Major investments in the development of the Lanseria Airport Logistics Hub, the Agri-Business Hub, and the Agro-Processing Hub support this expansion. Further developments in this area include investments in a solar manufacturing plant, aquaculture, and milling facilities. We recognize that the canals and valleys through which the rivers of Sidibeng flow will serve as infrastructure for urban development in the Southern Corridor. Its planted fields not only make this area a popular agro-tourism attraction, but it also opens up a wide array of opportunities to drive the development of various secondary industries from the raw materials produced here. The Agropolis, Vaal River City and the Gauteng Highlands developments will unlock the agricultural potential and waterfront developments in this corridor. Manufacturing has always been the backbone of the Ekurhuleni economy. The true potential of the Eastern Corridor will be unlocked through the seamless integration of its rail, road and air infrastructure. Development in this corridor will be anchored around the Aerotropolis, as well as the Tambo Springs and Centrorand inland ports, resulting in the efficient flow of goods and services. It is in the re-industrialization, diversification and modernization of this corridor's manufacturing sector that its economic success will be secured. Our vision for Gauteng seeks to accelerate job creation and deliver tangible benefits for its people. For companies seeking a commercial base and a gateway into Africa, the Gauteng Investment Center serves as a one-stop business service center that offers domestic and foreign investors access to seamless and hassle-free services from various government agencies in a single convenient location. Gauteng has unlimited potential as an investment destination. We not only work hard, but play hard too. This is the place where the experience from boardroom to bush takes on a literal meaning. Visitors to Gauteng are spoilt for choice in the plethora of options available to them, whether one chooses the relaxation of its unrivaled nature and wildlife experiences, or to explore the emotional and rich history of South Africa, or simply opt for a more cosmopolitan urban encounter featuring international shopping, dining and entertainment. Gauteng is the place to be. Gauteng's prowess and towering ambitions are also evident in its successful hosting of high-profile sporting, cultural and entertainment events. Gauteng is strategically poised to offer a unique hosting experience. Great moments are staged here. Like leading city regions in the world, modern-day Gauteng is the melting pot of cultures. It is a place where people from all walks of life can celebrate their dreams and realize their ambitions. This is the place where it all happens, where deals are struck, events staged, decisions made, and history broken. This is Gauteng. It starts here.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency Mr. Martin Koban, the Acting High Commissioner of the Embassy of Nigeria in Victoria. Good afternoon, Ambassador Mrs. Ajulo Keke, the Consul General of the Nigerian Consulate here in Johannesburg. And good afternoon, Mr. Saki Zamzake, the Group Chief Executive Officer of Gauteng Growth and Economic Agency. And good afternoon, Mr. M.D. Mawere. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies seated in the audience. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And good afternoon, the corporates. We welcome you to this great event. The main purpose why we're here today is to firstly, of course, showcase Nigeria and announce formally the event which will be taking place in Calabar, which is the World Mayor's African Region Investment Conference and Exhibition. Before I proceed, I would want to extend our deep appreciation to the CEO of GGDA, and then, of course, Rosemary, for the facilitation, the interest, the time, and the partnership we had to bring about the success of this day. We say thank you, sir, and we look forward to a more robust relationship in terms of realizing the African dream. In our next program here is addressed by the Consul General of Nigeria, Ambassador Mrs. Richard Lockett.
All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody here for this gathering, and to say, you know, that South Africa and Nigeria has a long history. Nigeria's romance with South Africa is Nigeria's romance with the African National Congress. And I want to start by saying that Nigeria had its independence in 1st of October 1960. And the 9th of November 1960, Nigeria's Prime Minister then, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, made a gift of £2 million to the African National Congress. And so the first independent sovereign foreign policy act of independent Nigeria was a gift of £2 million to the ANC. That shows you how close we are as brothers and sisters. Now, what do governments do? You ask yourself, at the world of Committee of Nations, government relates state to state. But when they relate state to state, it doesn't touch you and I. And the global trend today is to step down interstate relations one notch lower and get to intra-municipal relations, the twinning of cities and the conference of mayors. And so we are looking at twinning. We say Lagos, Cape Town, they are both top port cities. Calabar and KZN, Durban. Owerri and Johannesburg, they are inland cities, they are thriving economies. Kanu and Pretoria, you know, those kind of twinning. And so we are trying to bring interstate discourse to make it intra, so that we can effectively promote business and trade between peoples, not just living intrastate intercourse or discourse to be between countries. So that is what we are trying to promote today. So the World Conference of Mayors, I think it held in Johannesburg last year. Yes. And so now this year's conference is in Nigeria. And it's chosen in the beautiful, beautiful city of Calabar. Calabar was the first capital of colonial Nigeria, 1896. It was the gateway to the colonization of the hinterland, or the colonizing British. And after Calabar, the colonial capital moved to Asaba. And after Asaba, it moved to Lagos. And it was Lagos for about 100 years before it now moved to Abuja in 1992. So Calabar has some very unique history. It is the first seaport. It boasts a free trade zone. It boasts a world leisure center. It directly sits on the border with Cameroon. If you sit across the Cross River, we see our brethren from the Cameroon, the Bakassi Channel. And that is the city that is welcoming you to the conference. The conference center is actually said to be the best in West Africa. I am not xenophobic, but I think it is better than Southampton. So, from the 23rd to the 27th, Nigeria will be hosting the World Conference of Mayors. And my president, President Muhammadu Buhari, is going to declare the conference open. What we are trying to do is to promote an Africa without borders. My brother Mawera will tell you that a visa-free Africa is very close to our hearts. And it is only when you promote intra-state, not interstate. When we talk interstate, we are talking Nigeria and South Africa. When we talk intrastate discourse, we are talking Calabar, Johannesburg. We are talking Gauteng Growth Center to the one-stop shop in Abuja. So to NIPC, I think it's called in Abuja. So we are talking whereby we can bring down our institutional relations to people, to cities, to institutions, so that we can promote people-to-people traffic. And then we can facilitate the cause of government business, the cause and conduct of government business. In the intervening years of this century, wars were fought for territory. Today, wars are no longer fought for territory, wars are fought for resources. That's what today's global wars are about resources. And so when you promote intra-state discourse between people and institutions, you leverage the cause and conduct of government business. So we want to invite you to come to Nigeria, which is Africa's biggest dynamic market. And why do we say, or why did the World Bank decide to rebase Nigeria as the biggest economy? There are 2 or 3 indices for a superpower or for an economic powerhouse. It is that you have a manufacturing economy, you can be self-reliant and self-sustaining, and you can consume what you produce. These are the indices that make, and that you are a military power. But in today's world, the military indices is becoming lower and lower. It is the economic indices and the technology indices that are becoming higher and higher. And so when you look at the Nigerian and South African economy, South Africa has a more robust manufacturing base, but South Africa is export dependent. South Africa cannot consume what it produces. South Africa is 1.2 million square kilometers, and Nigeria is 923,000 kilometers. So South Africa is about 1 2/3 larger than Nigeria in terms of landmass. South Africa is 53 million. I hear the men don't like women. And Nigeria is 170 million people. And so the Nigerian population has the capacity to consume what it produces. And the Nigerian manufacturing base is lower. It is hungry for development and infrastructure. And that is why it is an aggressive market. Anything you drop in the Nigerian market, it's taken. Because it has the population with the purchasing power and the consuming power. So it is a more dynamic market. Nigeria imports. But if Nigeria were to rebase its manufacturing economy, it need not import. It is dynamic enough to produce and consume what it produces. So we are asking you, South Africa, to get married with us. We're already married, but I think the marriage is experiencing some hiccups. So that Nigeria can leverage South Africa's technology and manufacturing, and also in leveraging South Africa's technology and manufacturing, also transmit South African goods and corporate South Africa to the rest of the continent. There is no aspect of development engineering or manufacturing that is not available in the Republic of South Africa. So I wonder why South Africa is having this romance with China, when they can indeed produce the Chinese did not build all this infrastructure. Are they being built by China? CEO? And so, why is it that South Africa has not taken the one step forward to send and sell its technology, its infrastructure to the rest of Africa that is waiting for development? It is actually South Africa's turn to pay back. This is payback time. 50 years ago, we were talking politics, we were talking apartheid, we were talking liberation. We have paid our dues. South Africa is now free. Now we are talking technology, we are talking development, we are talking infrastructure. What is South Africa doing to liberate the rest of the continent from the infrastructure deficit that it has in terms of bringing manufacturing, bringing economy, bringing development to the rest of Africa? South Africa is actually abdicating its role to the Chinese. The rest of Africa is waiting. So I can say that Calabar is welcoming. Come and show us what you can do, what you intend to do, and what you want to do, and what you have the capacity to do. And I thank you very much.
In addition to what Her Excellency said, I want to quote a speech by President Zuma in his last visit to Nigeria. He said to our president that your invitation to me tells the story of the need for our two sister countries to partner together, not only to strengthen bilateral relations, but also to partner together in pursuit of the Continental One integration, peace, security, and development. And in his speech further, he said that economic cooperation between the two countries will serve as a bedrock of the continent's economic cooperation and intra-Africa trade. He further said this is the kind of leadership Africa expects from South Africa and Nigeria to provide. This is an excerpt from the president of our host country. And I humbly request everybody here to walk in the spirit of this document and in the spirit of what Her Excellency has said. Hence, we are hosting this conference in Calabar to be able to engage South Africans, one-on-one business, government, and be able to develop the country. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, CEO, honored guests, we are the Gauteng Investment Center. We were established about 2 years ago as a one-stop shop. And indeed, we look forward to making the linkages with the IPC that Your Excellency has mentioned to share best practices based on how we do things on this side and how you manage to also accomplish things on the other side. This little map shows you the distance to some of the key trade points in the region. And this particular one, this graph shows you the number of flights out of the OR Tambo International Airport to the rest of the SADC subcontinent. And these two slides kind of explain why businesses leverage Gauteng as a springboard to the rest of the continent. Because you've got flights going in and out daily. You could literally have breakfast here, go have your meeting out there, and be back in time for dinner. And of course, we've got our flagship city, France as Paris, the UK as London. We have our Johannesburg, which we are very proud of. It is as the central corridor that you saw in the earlier video, but that's not the end of Gauteng. Of course, we've got the national seat down in Tshwane. We hold about 21% of South Africa's population. Is quite here, and we're very strong in manufacturing. It's one of the lesser mentioned facts about Gauteng. We are organized as a global city region. What does that mean? Because we are so compact, each of those metros that you see focuses on particular sectors. And again, the video earlier mentioned what those sectors are, so I will not dwell on each too much. Your Excellency, I hope this slide will provide you a degree of conviction that we are moving in the right direction. We had our elections in 2014, the programs are out, we are now in midterm in terms of the political program and government program. And we have these TMRs, which we call Transformation, Modernization, and Reindustrialization. They are supported by those 10 pillars. And among those pillars is this particular one, taking a lead in Africa's new industrial revolution. Meaning that as a province, we are now having direct and supported effort to go out there. So you'll be seeing us definitely more often out there trying to represent South Africa, and also playing that role, as you mentioned, that is so much needed of us as a country. We belong to the provincial government as the Gauteng Investment Center, but we are managed by the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, which is the investment promotion agency for the province. So what do? Well, ours is to receive investors and strategic guests such as yourselves, to identify your needs and alert you also to any blind spot you might be having. And then we connect you to the business partners, especially in the government value chain. And then we play that role of a policeman to push them to assist you quicker, faster, more efficient, and deliver more quality product and interaction. And of course, we then report to the provincial government in terms of investment, jobs, and trade that has been realized out of our efforts. We do this on an annual basis. So who are these partners? The GIC itself, its true value proposition is the unlocking of that government value chain by bringing those key role players who are essential for business to move forward. So we've recruited from the national sphere, from the provincial sphere, and from the local sphere, all into one platform. In fact, even our location is chosen strategically. We're 3 minutes away from the Gautrain. So you could be from Abuja, you just get on the Gautrain on your terminal at OR Tambo, and you are here within 25 to 30 minutes. You take a taxi, a short ride away, and you are here. We do take walk-ins. The partners that we have our own Department of Trade and Industry as an umbrella body responsible for South Africa's economic and trade policy. They have sub-directorates under them, including those responsible for government incentives, the management of the bilaterals and multilaterals we have with other countries, registrars of companies, standards, and the like. And we zoomed in on one of their sub-directorates called the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. It's the National Company Registrar. And from the GIC then, you're able to register your company, change directorships, and the like, with the support of the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, which is very well competent in the space of business registrations. We also have the Department of Home Affairs, which is quite a success story in the lifespan of the Gauteng Investment Center. Last May, we opened VFS Global, a premier lounge dedicated to corporate services. And one might ask, why do you need one less than 5 kilometers from the one in Sandton? This one is geared more towards business, and it's calibrated to be more responsive to the needs of our business and economic guests. For instance, we have quicker turnaround times. In somewhere else in the country, your turnaround time might be 6 weeks. Here, it's guaranteed 4 weeks by the minister himself. And when we took stock last October, our average turnaround time had been 10 days. We're able to get you an appointment within 48 hours if you need to renew anything and the like. But also, we cater for the whole family. We understand that our economic guests move as a family unit. So you've got the corporate guest, and then the spouse, and maybe a child. So we cater for all of them, all within this one center. So there's no need for one to go one side and the others then get lost in the greater system. And of course, we still have Home Affairs, which is available as an advisory service directly from government to our investors. We're able to have a sit down and they can advise you. The alternative, of course, is immigration practitioners, which often leads to complication, and of course it costs more. So that value proposition of creating a more efficient government value chain, we hope it will result in the reduction of time it takes to do business and the cost it takes to do business in South Africa. We also have the South African Revenue Services, which is our tax collector. There are two facets to it. The first one is the education part. This is when you are new to our economy or you have queries, you've been around. They are here to assist you. They are here every Thursday. And the second part is the technical back office. So now you want to get your import-export license. Now you want to register for VAT. Now you've got a bill from them and you'd like to discuss with someone exactly what happened. They are here again, accessible from this very center. And we've got Mercantile Bank of Portugal. They came out of an MOU we have with ASAP of Portugal. They cater for Portuguese businesses, so they thought it would be a good strategy to be aligned with the GIC so their businesses can get the service. And EY, formerly known as Ernst & Young, have given us a market intelligence tool called Growing Beyond Borders. It's very good for getting information out of markets in a more convenient fashion. We also partnered with our very own Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, which is responsible for environmental licensing. And the municipalities, of course, are here. Joburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane. Joburg is actually here Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The others we can rope in as and when we need them. So from this one platform, very accessible even geographically, you are able to understand South Africa's economic policy, what the opportunities are. You're able to register your company, understand our tax regime, register for the tax, deal with your immigration issues as a company, all from one spot. And when the time comes, we'll be on standby to introduce you and link to our municipalities and assist you to explore market intelligence when you're looking to expand or where you should go next as a business. I think on that note, Your Excellency CEO, thank you most kindly. That's our website for more information. And we've got also a passport which we produced in January. I'll try and leave one lying around. It has the same information and the full contact details of ours. Thank you.
Next in our program is announcements on the conference. With all due respect and humility, the High Commissioner of Nigeria, Mr. Martins Kobam, I will request you to announce the conference formally to the audience. We're more than very happy to be accommodated here freely. It's kind of yes. It lends off some kind of burden, and that shows the fraternity between South Africa and Nigeria. That, and as the DME said sometimes, we are looking forward to retaliate. We will do some other thing for you to freely too. Before I announce formally the conference scheduled to take place in Calabar, in Nigeria, I just want to compliment earlier statements, or as it were, remarks by both my colleague, the Constitutional Johannesburg Ambassador Richard Lukiki, the local organizing committee, Barrister Makoto. I cannot just announce, but I need to garnish the cake, probably put some flesh on the skeleton. It's actually a pleasure to speak. Mr. Maori, to be here with you, my brother, my sister, CG, and your good self, ladies and gentlemen, that we have this opportunity to partner, work with South African brothers and sisters. We have a lot of things in common. Albeit that we had our independence earlier than South Africa, but our history is basically similar. We're both colonized, we have basically the same challenges, and we are same successes, so to speak. I would like to comment on the fact that coming on the heel of the last presidential visit to Nigeria by President Zuma, we cannot but sustain this momentum of continued and sustained partnership. Between South Africa and Nigeria, we actually premised our relationship on 3 C's: consultation, cooperation, and collaboration. This has been the tripod upon which Nigeria and South Africa work together. And it is against this tripod, or these 3 C's, that a lot of the activities, the flow of activities between the 2 countries and between the next level. Before President Zuma went to Nigeria, we had the privilege and the happiness to launch the Johannesburg-Abuja flight. To add to what my colleague has said, that in itself opened and enhanced the relationship between the 2 countries. A flight from Johannesburg straight to Abuja means much more person-to-person interaction and kind of goods and services, because when people come together, trade is taken to the next level. And as Makoto said, going by President Zuma's exit, we need to remove barriers. And it's not only enough that we come here, you go to Nigeria, and we are not making effort to take the relation to the next level. So I want to actually thank the government of South Africa that it resolved, or it did fit to have this flight to Abuja regularly. It has symbolically and beyond that enhanced the friendship, partnership, and work relationship between the 2 countries. And let me go beyond that. Gauteng, where we are cordially hosted this afternoon, it's not only the economic hub of South Africa. Without Gauteng, South Africa is more or less naked. In fact, Gauteng is the economic powerhouse of South Africa. So it is quite appropriate that we are having this discourse in Gauteng. The gentleman that made the rendition on Gauteng said, in Gauteng, you work hard and you play hard. But let me reverse that. No, you work hard and play straight. And that's why I think you're going to Calabar, you're not only going to work hard, you will play straight. There is much more than this conference will offer you in Calabar. And by Samako too, that might be your assignment to speak further. Mine is just probably through the gauntlet, through my hands to the gauntlet. Nigeria and South Africa, especially on the advent, let me use that language, of commodity price crash
need to work a lot together. For South Africa, we have seen a downturn in the price of platinum and related minerals. For Nigeria, crude oil, petroleum products has crashed. So the two presidents have mutually agreed to kind of go away from this monocultural economy that is need to diversify. And that is why this investor-driven conference is very important. And in fact, serves as a catalyst to complement and augment our president's program to have the country economy diversified. Your coming to Calabar will be not only a wake-up call, but an eye-opener, and a lot much more you will observe and learn from Calabar. But I want to underline that Nigeria, as my sister said, is a big market. South Africa has the technology. We have the population, but Nigeria is hungry for skill acquisition. We need to learn from you. It's better that we learn from South Africa. I mean, transfer money from South Africa to Nigeria than go to China. It is much more convenient for us to sit down and learn from each other. Thirdly, this conference eventually will create what I want to see as industrial centers or growth centers, because it will go beyond having Lagos and Abuja as where South Africans go to, particularly when they say I'm going to Nigeria, it's either Lagos or Abuja. But now, Calabar will be one of those areas that people will look forward to going. Besides the carnival, which is now a phenomenon, Calabar will provide for you areas to do business. And I want to encourage you to go to Calabar. I'm not saying it out of some kind of personal emotion. That is where I come from. So I'm standing here right here to showcase it. And I want to assure you that when you get to Calabar, you will come back with different stories, and I'm sure good stories. So on that note, as Mr. Nwakodo has directed me, because I'm serving him, and I want to formally announce that the conference is timely and scheduled to take place in Calabar from May 27. And with your permission, I want to thank you for listening to me. And okay, he's giving me another task. You know, Mr. Nwakodo, you're asking for too much. Are you an advertist? No, sir. I assure Mr. Nwakodo that the embassy always uses this kind of platform to facilitate. I want you to facilitate, to make things easier. And so on that note, I want to announce before you all that we at the High Commission, and I'm sure my sister too in the consulate, will bend back slightly to accommodate your visa request. We will urge you to pay the normal online visa application, but we will give you a waiver for others. And that is just to encourage you to apply in good time. Come for your visa. Please don't come to the High Commission a day to travel. We're not magicians, but apply appropriately. And if you have any cause for any challenges, I'm going to leave him with a card. Give us a call, and we will expedite your visa application. And I'm sure with that, and let me actually compliment Arik. I want to look up, who is Arik gentleman? Arik.
Lady.
Oh, madam, in this discourse, we have only men. But I am gender sensitive. We want to plead that we want the Arik flight with South African Airways to ensure that on arrival in Lagos, your plane is going to take us to Calabar. We do not want to have excuses. Otherwise, the conference will hold in Lagos. So, please, we want the flight on arrival, latest an hour interval with coffee or tea to jump into the aircraft, and before 35 minutes, see the green launch of Calabar. And then, of course, take it from there. Thank you very much. And God bless you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for all the kind words spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, the basic thing we're here today, like he has formally announced to us, is about the World Mayors African Region Investment Conference. I would want to tell you the theme of this conference. The theme of this conference is Global Partnership for Economic Growth and Development in Africa, exploring options for diversification in African economy. I would want to go back to the speech of Mr. President Zuma. Mr. President said during his visit to Nigeria that there is room for greater business engagement, particularly in the areas Nigeria has identified as potential growth sectors. These include the diversification of the economy, namely our electricity generation and supply, our agriculture and our agricultural processing, the tourism development area, the hospitality, the mining, the banking. South Africa has world-class infrastructure, your aviation, your manufacturing and automotive sector. This falls directly in line with the theme of our conference, diversification. And based on that, we have come here to South Africa to seek for our African brethren to be part of the partnership in Nigeria. The key speakers in some of these diversified areas are South Africans. Permit me to bring on the podium the CEO of Randburg Chamber of Commerce to present to this honorable audience the speakers choosing to speak in that conference on mining, agriculture, and energy. We did this to show the South African brethren the love and the partnership we profess that we really actually want to do it. That's why we've given them this great opportunity and privilege also to be part of the core process of this conference.